Howdy folks, Mark Serbu, gun designer, gun nut. The Serbu Super-Shorty. Let me know if you've never heard of this gun. It's our most popular gun, I think by far. It's been around since, well, I designed it and made the first one in 1997, so it's been around a long time, 28 years. And we got, I don't know, probably 6,000-ish out there. And I've never done a video on it before because I hate the thing. I mean, I guess to clarify, as a gun designer, I hate it. As a manufacturer, I hate it. As a gun nut, I love it. Man, the thing is a blast. It's mostly impractical, and you know, no one would ever have a use for it, but I think probably 95% of my gun collection is in that category. But a lot of them have in common that they're just fun. They're a blast, and that's the nice thing about this country. You can just have guns for fun and play around with them. Now, of course, there are serious uses for it. This would be a great home defense gun. Have it on a sling and walk around the house with it. You know, of course, it makes that sound that scares the crap out of anybody. And you know, talk about the ultimate anti-carjacking gun. My God, you know, just have that in your lap when you see something coming up, and imagine a guy coming up to your window and man, I would not want to get shot in the face with a 12 gauge shotgun with a 6.5-inch barrel, or any gun. So bottom line, really good anti-carjacking gun, no doubt, but I don't know. Hopefully you just don't get carjacked, right? And I don't know where I'd carry this in my car. I mean, you know, in the trunk, but to have it ready, it's compact for a 12 gauge, but it's still big in general for something you're going to hide in your car somewhere. Certainly won't fit in the glove compartment or the center console. But anyway, you know, and probably a lot of states you're not allowed to use an NFA firearm for a, I don't know, actually, for something to carry around in your car. It depends, you know, sometimes things like, you know, this is considered an AOW, any other weapon. It's not a sawed-off shotgun, it's a shotgun pistol, which is any other weapon. $5 transfer tax instead of $200, that's nice. But a lot of times states just don't even know about these things. They kind of sneak in under the radar, so they don't have laws against them. Even California had these legal for a lot longer than you would have expected, just because they didn't know about it. So anyway, the Super-Shorty, the reason I hate it as a manufacturer and as a designer, I don't like it because it's just a hack. You know, I took someone else's design, chopped the barrel, you know, came up with this little grip assembly and a different cocking slide piece, and it's not a whole lot of cool stuff in there. So, you know, not really showing off my skills here. You know, and what we end up with is kind of cool. I mean, it's cool looking, and again, it's really fun. Now, this here is the very latest and greatest version, which only about 30 of these have been produced, and they're only for, I made some for some friends, and I made some for a couple trade deals, and so that's why there aren't a lot. And if you see them with this new barrel lug, that's one of the brand new ones, and this is a really cool thing that I don't know, I'd say I've been wanting to do it for years, but I don't really like messing with the Super-Shorty because it takes away from the BFG 50A. But this is a cool thing. It's got a built-in sight. It's got a place to attach a sling swivel, and it's not welded on the barrel anymore. You know, like I said, we've got 6,000 of these things out there, and probably a dozen of them have come back over the years. I mean, that's over almost 30 years. Have had the weld crack where where the lug attaches to the barrel, and you know, it's annoying, and this completely solves that. No more welding. And another nice thing is, since you're not welding now, when you weld on heat treated steel, you're going to change the temper of your barrel, and you end up heat treating it and making it harder. And if you ever want to go and put a tappet for a choke, so you can put in some kind of suppressor that mounts on choke threads, it's really hard to do with the old way. With this, with no welding, the barrel's as it was before, so it's relatively easy to tap. Now, if you want to know the story of how the Super-Shorty came into being, if you hadn't seen it in one of my videos, we had the company, the video we used to play behind us at the SHOT Show and talked about all the different guns and over time, whatever. But this one, make a long story short, one of my gun buddies, I owed him money. I owed him $600, and he said, "Hey, instead of just paying me the $600, how about you make me the shortest little sawed-off shotgun you can possibly make and put a fold-down grip on it?" And he actually wanted a Mossberg at the time, and I guess because at the time maybe that was the only one you could get a pistol grip on. I don't know, but he wanted it to be an AOW. So I was like, yeah, no problem. And I started working on it, and man, I just hated the thing. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. It took me a year to get it done because I hated it so much. But when he finally got hold of it and he put some pictures of it out there on the internet, like, man, holy crap. You know, the internet such as it was in 1997. But it got a lot of response. A lot of people loved it. So I said, well, heck, I'll make it a product. And thus was born the Super-Shorty. Now, I didn't really say why I hate it from a manufacturing standpoint, but that's really quick and simple. It just takes away from our other products that are way more profitable, like the BFG 50A. And, you know, the obvious question is, well, why don't you just expand? But I don't know. I'm just not that good at running a business, a small business. I'd be terrible at running a big business. So, you know, we've never had more than, I think the most employees we ever had was 9. And yeah, with you throw enough people at it, I don't know, it just, anyway, bottom line, I just didn't like them that much. And oh, you know what else? The reason we discontinued them several years ago, hell, I don't even remember what year it was, but when Remington came out with the TAC 14 and Mossberg came out with the Shockwave, now you've got your little sawed-off shotgun itch that's being scratched for a lot of people. And those things were selling for, you know, $400 or $500, maybe even less than that. And, you know, here ours was at the time $1,200, and they're like, well, what the hell? Why do I need that? You know, it's just, I guess their barrel was 14 inches. You know, this is a lot more compact, and they had to have that weird bird's head grip on it, and no fold down grip. And of course, it's not the famous Super-Shorty that's been in, you know, all the TV shows and movies and video games. So a lot of people, like I said, they got their itch scratched with those guns, and sales just plummeted on these things. So we're like, okay, what the hell? This is a good time to just dump the whole thing. And I guess along the way too, I had raised the price a couple times, just because it was taken away from our other work that, again, was more profitable. And from a business standpoint, unfortunately, you got to follow the money sometimes. So yeah, we raised it up. I think it was like $600 or $700 for the longest time. And I'm like, hell, we're not really making money with these, even though you think you could. But overhead and, you know, it really eats. Companies eat a lot of money. It's terrible. So I just said, hell with it. I raised the price up $150, which is pretty significant, and didn't affect sales at all. I was like, wow, holy crap. And then I don't know, a year or so later, we raised it up, maybe even more than that, because it went from $600 or $700 to $8-ish, $9-ish to $1,000, $1,200, somewhere in that range. And none of that ever really mattered. That was well before the TAC 14 and the Shockwave came out. But once those did, it was just like, then people were like, screw it, I'm not going to pay $1,000 for something I can get for $600, something sort of similar. Now you see these things on Gunbroker. I sold one not too long ago for $3,000, and I saw one just sell just a month or so ago for $4,100. Like, wow, that is just crazy money. So obviously there's a demand for it, and we got to come up with a way where we can try to fill the demand and not go broke. So enter this baby. People are going to go, oh my God, no, Serbu, no. This is a Turkish shotgun. Yes, Turkish. And I know there's, but listen to this thing. There's a lot of bad, you hear a lot of bad stuff about Turkish shotguns, just Turkish guns in general, but it's like anything. There are crappy ones made and there are good ones made. Well, luckily, through a friend of a friend, we found these guys, they're local here, who import these from the factory in Turkey. And of course, they went to a good factory. And this thing, man, I'm very impressed with it. Like, for example, I mean, chrome line bore, and like the shell stops in there that on a Remington or a Mossberg. They're these little, stamped out pieces of sheet steel, just kind of crammed in there. This thing has actual machined, plated little spring-loaded pieces that are just like, wow. They're you can see there's a lot of expensive work done on these that is not done on the 870 and the Mossberg 500. And that's how it goes. They've been making the Mossbergs and the Remingtons for decades and decades, and you've got to make them as cheaply and as efficiently as possible, or you're going to just go out of business, or they'll be too expensive for the market, whatever. But the secret to the Turkish gun companies is they just they're government subsidized, from what I understand. So it's like this thing, if it wasn't government subsidized, it probably would sell for $600, but as it is, it's a couple $100. So that's nice, because you get really high quality for a very low price, and I think it's a great starting point, and it's going to make a great Super-Shorty. Now, your typical internet mouth breathers, people who just like to stir crap, are going to say, "Oh, Serbia's just selling out just to make money." So there are a couple things at play here. First of all, I hate the thing, don't want to make it to begin with. And second of all, it takes away from what I'm really concentrating on, which is our backlog of BFG 50A rifles. We've got a huge backlog, and getting that project going again has been really tough. So anyway, so if this doesn't work out, it's not going to break my heart. So I just got a shipment of these, a couple dozen, and I've got it all modeled up in CAD, and I like how it's looking. And the really cool thing about this, and I don't think I've got the cocking slide. Hold on. All right, so the really cool thing about the Turkish gun is it uses this giant piece instead of those little action bars. And the Remington and the Mossberg, again, they're just stamped out pieces of steel. And I don't know, on these, they kind of require a little bit of finesse to cock them really fast. Some people, like, you see them, and especially if you're pulling down here low, it kind of wants to bend everything and make it a little bit hard to rack it. So obviously I've racked a few of these, so I know what I'm doing. But this thing, instead of having these two little action bars here, it's a, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a freaking ladder. But this is all hogged out of one piece of steel, and it's got this little piece here that again has it's internally chrome plated for for it to rack smoothly. And I'm gonna have to modify this a little bit, because I need to move that back just a tad so that I can shorten the barrel. So this is a hell of a lot of work. I mean, if you're cranking these puppies out like Remington and Mossberg are, you can see this is just a stamping, and it was probably made in seconds, and then they broach a couple of little areas on it. And this thing, they just machine it, and this is not cheap at all. Compared to that cocking slide, this is 5 times more expensive. But this is really, this is the secret to this. It makes it very smooth and very nice. But all that stuff is all academic if the gun's a piece of crap in the end. So now James Reeves from the Firearm blog loves to burn these things down. He's killed, I don't know, I haven't watched all the videos, I've watched a tiny bit of them, but apparently people out there love to destroy the Turkish shotguns, and I guess the thing that's going around is that they don't last more than 500 rounds. So luckily I got a buddy who has this little tiny gun range that gets a little bit of business here and there. It's called Battlefield Vegas. So I'm gonna send him a couple of these, and I just talked to him the other day, and so we're gonna make the first couple of Super-Shorties on these are going to Battlefield Vegas. If you want to try them out, I don't know how soon they're going to be there, but hopefully within a month. And man, if anybody can ring them out big time, it's a range like that. So we'll get the 500 rounds really fast, and if the things fail, if they've got issues, we'll definitely find them, I would think, in that environment. And at least this time we got a sample size of 2. All these guys who do the burn downs, they just get one gun in there and beat it up and whatever. But so we'll have 2 different guns there, and of course we'll be playing with our own here. But I think I think even if it dies at 500 rounds, it's not going to die. It's going to need some parts replaced, but I don't know. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know how much people shoot Super Shorties in general. Let me know in the comments if you got a Super Shorty. How much do you shoot it? Do you shoot the hell out of it? You ever had any problems with it? And what do you think of Turkish shotguns? Do you think I'm an idiot for even thinking about it, or would you consider it? And another thing is, we're gonna put these suckers out there at in fact we do. The ones that we have sold to people, which is very few, they're well, no, my friends get a deal, of course, but they're $1,700 retail, and to me that's a lot of money for a little gun like this. But that's what we have to get for it. This thing is going to be right around $1,000, so I think that's pretty nice. But let me know your thoughts. Would you not be caught dead shooting a Super Shorty that was, the main gun was made in Turkey, or do you not care? You trust me? You think I'm a jerk? Let me know in the comments. So, other stuff. I'm going to show you some of the old Super Shorties that have been around here for decades. This is kind of neat. This is a 20 gauge, and I think we made a very small amount of these. And another thing, there were deluxe versions back in the old days. Oh, this one even says Super-Shorty on it. Let's see if it zooms in on that. It says Super-Shorty on the lug. Now that only got done on 1 or 2 guns, and they never left here, so you're not going to find that. But this front sight is fully machined, and there's a machined pocket on the barrel, and it's silver soldered in place, and that's just a ton of work. And I think the deluxe version was $100 more, so that was another stupid business decision on my part. But anyway, the little 20 gauge, they're just neat. I mean, it's these things pack a wallop, and in 20 gauge it's not so bad. 12 gauge, and either one of them makes a huge flash, and they're pretty impressive. But yeah, 20 gauge is just that's what I bring to shoots now when I go to machine gun shoots and want to walk around with something. It's a conversation piece. This is a very old original Mossberg. I hate these even more than the Remingtons, mainly because we have to machine this big old honking cocking slide piece and then weld it. We had this welding fixture, and even then it still doesn't work 100% of the time. It's a pain in the ass. But anyway, this one's probably 20 years old. This was something that we did that was we were excited about for a while, because this has a brace on it. It's a folding brace, and it's a 3+1, and this had an old version of the barrel lug, and as you can see, it's actually got an original bead front sight on it, and this thing is held in place with this nut on here. This is really cool. But 3+1 on a Mossberg, which I've only done 3 times, but the idea was this was going to be a non-NFA Super Shorty. That would have been like, wow. But with the way the ATF is, with all these changing rules, I don't even want to mess with it. I think the latest ruling, it might be okay, but I don't know. But one thing about the Super Shorty being NFA is people are getting into NFA stuff. It's almost like a badge of honor. Like, people used to be really scared of NFA stuff because all the paperwork and the signatures and the fingerprints and the photographs, and now it's like no big deal, and the e-forms are super quick, and it's amazing. So yeah, I think that has gone away, especially with the $5 tax. That's who cares? And I think they didn't they drop the law enforcement signature rule. Well, I guess what people do is they make a trust. They form a trust. The gun goes in the trust. You just have to have your responsible person form go with that. But anyway, let me know that in the comments too. Are you scared of NFA, or are you one of these people who like to collect stamps, or do you not care either way? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. And now that's it. I've talked my butt off on Super Shorties, and yeah, nothing really more to say about them. I don't have an old school Remington one right nearby. There's probably one somewhere, but there's a lot of crap around here. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Appreciate you as always. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and I will catch you next time.